Hi everyone. Today we are going to see the propagation of sound. So every day we used to hear different kinds of sound. Barking of the dog, calling bell when others are talking, music, whatever it is, all everywhere we are getting different varieties of sound. How we are able to hear the sound? We know that from all these sources, the sound waves or the sound is traveling in the form of a wave. When it reaches our ear, we are getting the sensation of hearing. And while the waves are moving, it carries mechanical energy. So we can tell that sound is a form of energy. Now we will see much more about the sound. What are its characteristics? So sound is a form of energy, but we have to know that from where the sound is producing or how the sound is producing. So here I have a rubber band with me. Stretch the rubber band and keep it near to your ear, then strike over it. You are able to see the vibration produced by the rubber band. Along with that, you can hear a sound. Or else take a drum or violin, whatever it is, strike over it. We are able to see the vibration, plus along with that we are able to see the sound. So we can conclude that sound is a form of energy and it is always produced by vibrating body. Sound or the source of sound is always a vibrating body. If you see any kind of stringed instruments or drum, everywhere, or even flute, there the air particles or air is a vibrating medium. So everywhere we can conclude that sound is produced by a vibrating object. Okay. Now we are going to see that how sound is traveling. Actually, we know that light does not want any medium for its propagation. Light is also a kind of wave. But if we compare light and sound, sound requires a particle medium or material medium for its propagation. For that, one example is given like a bell jar experiment. We can conclude or we can see through that experiment. Take a jar. Keep an alarm clock inside the jar and cover it with a lid. So we can set the timing. We can set the timing for alarm. Then when the alarm starts ringing, we are able to hear the sound because the jar is completely filled up of air. Now slowly take out the air from that through a vacuum tube or something. Then we can easily see that the alarm is vibrating, but slowly the sound is getting faint. So it proves that sound requires a material medium for its propagation. And there are some minimum quality or there are some requirement for the medium for the propagation of sound wave. We'll see which are those. First one. The particle of the medium should have inertia. So then only the mechanical energy will be stored or it will be transformed to the another one. So the medium should have inertia. And second one, the particle of the medium should be elastic. You know what is elasticity? So if it is moving from its original position, it has to come back to its mean position. After moving to a particular position, it has to come back to its original position. That quality is known as elasticity. So the medium should have elasticity. And the third point, the medium should be frictionless. We know that if friction is there will be loss of energy. So when the sound is also a kind of energy, so if the medium doesn't have friction, obviously the percentage of loss will be very less. So less friction or frictionless. So these are the three requisites of the medium for the sound wave to propagate. Now we will see how the wave is propagated in different medium. Okay. Now we just consider my hand. Just consider my hands. So we know that when we are talking from our larynx or the sound box, the sound is coming and there will be a box. Larynx is a kind of membrane. It vibrates and the sound is coming to the air, medium as air. So what happens, just consider this is the membrane or this is the first disturbance. So a disturbance should be there to carry out the wave, or the periodic disturbance is there that will be carried out through the medium. So there should be a proper periodic disturbance and it should be carried out through a particular material medium. So these are the main characteristics of the sound wave. There should be a periodic wave or periodic disturbance and it will be carried out through a medium in the form of waves. Okay. So just consider this is the first place or the membrane where we are giving a particular kind of vibration. Okay. So now it is in a normal state. It got a vibration. So slowly what happens? When it gave the vibration or the disturbance, slowly it gave the disturbance or it compressed the layer. Just consider in between my hands, different layer of air particles are there. Okay. So when I get this compression, when my right hand get this compression, I am giving, or this disturbance I am giving slowly to the other one, or my hand will be moving like this way. So all the air particle in this section will be compressed. Okay. And that compression will be given to the other hand. So slowly it gives and slowly it comes here and it will give to the other section. By that time, my first hand will come back to the original position. See once more, it goes like this way, it gives and it comes back to the original position. When it comes back, here it creates maximum distance. When it compresses it, all the layer will be close together. When my hand will come back to the original position, these layers will be loose or it creates much more distance between the molecules. So when all the particles are coming together, we used to call it as compression. When all the layer particles or when all the disturbance are coming together, we used to call it as compression. When my hand moves back, it creates a loosely bounded space. So that is called rarefaction. Okay. So we can conclude that in sound wave, when it travels in air, it is in the form of compression and rarefaction. It is in the form of compression and rarefaction. I'll show with a figure. Just consider this initial state. All the particles are in a same manner. Then when I give the compression, when this comes to this side, automatically all these particles, this will be like this way. All these things are coming together. Rest will be equal. Now in next section, it came back to the original position and it creates much more distance here and the compression is moving towards the other end and the rest of the particle will be. So likewise slowly this disturbance is actually moving from one point to the other point, and when these things are close together we used to call it as compression. I'm just marking it as compression and this space is known as rarefaction. So sound wave travels as a combination of compression and rarefaction, and if it is a combination of compression and rarefaction, we used to call this wave with a name called longitudinal wave. Longitudinal wave. So longitudinal wave is a combination of compression and rarefaction. Longitudinal waves, the particles are vibrating to and fro. If I am talking, my sound wave is traveling in this direction. So the waves or the particle of this medium will be vibrating parallel to the direction of propagation. Longitudinal waves, the particle will be vibrating parallel to the direction of propagation. Now we'll see one more kind of wave is there. During that time, the particle of the medium will vibrate up and down. The particles will move up and down, and the energy will be transferred to the another molecule. All the particles will move up and down to the propagation of sound. That kind of wave is known with the name transverse wave. Transverse wave. So we can consider, if we draw the figure, it will be like this way, up and down movement. So these top portions we used to call it as crest of the wave, and this is called trough. So transverse wave is always a combination of crest and trough. If we see the movement of the particle will move perpendicular to the direction of propagation. Actually, the transverse wave of sound wave can be longitudinal wave and transverse wave, but this transverse wave is possible mostly in solids. In solids, transverse wave form of sound wave is possible, and on the surface of the liquid. Okay, only it is possible on the solids and surface of the liquid. If it is inside the liquid or in air, only longitudinal mode of sound wave propagation is possible. So transverse wave mode is possible only in the case of solid and on the surface of liquid. Inside the liquid and even the common, we know that always most of the case the sound wave is traveling to the air. If we are talking, we used to hear the sound through the medium of air. So in normal case or in air, through the medium of air, the sound wave is traveling as longitudinal wave. During that time, the particle will be moving parallel to the direction of propagation of wave. Now, we'll see some terms related with the sound waves. Okay, we'll see the terms related with the sound wave. First one, amplitude. So, amplitude means maximum deviation of a particle from its mean position. If a particle starting from here and vibrating to this end and again coming back to the position. So, this is called the mean position. So, how much maximum distance? So, from the mean position to this distance, that is called the amplitude. The maximum displacement from the mean position of a particle is called amplitude, and it is measured, it is represented by the letter A, and the unit of amplitude is meter. Okay, unit of amplitude is meter. Second one, frequency. So, frequency is represented by the letter F or even mu. Okay, F or mu, and it is the unit of frequency is hertz or even second raised to minus 1. We can consider it as hertz or second raised to minus 1. Frequency means number of oscillations in 1 second or unit time. How many oscillations? Like vibration, moving here, coming back, here and coming back. This is called one complete vibration or disturbance. Okay, or oscillation. So, how many oscillations or vibration happens in a unit time or in unit 1 second? That is called frequency. Now, we'll see the third point or third term, time period. Time period is always represented by the letter T, and the unit, we know that time, obviously the unit is second. Okay. So, time period means the time taken to complete one complete oscillation. The time taken by a particle to complete its one complete vibration is called time period. Frequency means number of oscillations in unit time. Time period means time taken to complete one oscillation. Time taken to complete one oscillation. Our next term is wavelength. Wavelength is represented by the letter lambda and the unit is meter. So, wavelength means it is a distance between two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs. If you see the figure, it is the distance between two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs. This is called lambda. This is also lambda. Or even we can take from here to here. that is also lambda. It means we have to show the complete length of a wave. The length of a complete wave is called wavelength. Now we'll see the next term, that is wave velocity. Fifth term is wave velocity. So we know that what is velocity? Distance traveled by a particle in unit time is called wave velocity. So the velocity, wave velocity is a distance traveled by a wave in 1 second. It is represented by the letter capital V and the unit is meter per second. So wave velocity means the distance traveled by a wave in 1 second or in unit time. Now we'll see two different graphs. From the graph, we can find out what is the time period and even the wavelength. We have two different graphs. First graph, distance displacement time graph. We have two different graphs. First we'll see that displacement time graph. Okay, first one is displacement time graph. So, when you draw a graph, first you have to label what mentioned by the x-axis and y-axis. Here, y-axis is our time period and x-axis is our displacement. Displacement in x-axis and time period in y-axis. So, this is a graph. Okay, so this shows an amplitude. Amplitude means maximum deviation or displacement from the mean position. When this is also amplitude, it should be equal in size. This is also amplitude. And from displacement time graph, we can find out the time period. It is the gap between two consecutive crest or trough. If it is a displacement time graph, the distance between the consecutive crest and trough shows the time period. Same way, the distance between this also shows the time period. Okay. So, from displacement time graph, we can easily find out the time period of a particular wave. X-axis should be time period and y-axis should be displacement. Now, a second graph, it is displacement distance graph. Second one is displacement distance graph. So that also x-axis shows the displacement and y-axis it shows distance. Okay, same pattern of wave. Here also we have to draw it. Here also this shows the amplitude and the distance between two consecutive crest and trough shows the wavelength lambda. Here also it shows lambda. So from the displacement distance graph we can measure the wavelength and from displacement time graph we can measure the time period. Now we'll see the relationship between wave velocity, wavelength and frequency. Okay, we are going to see the relationship between wave velocity, wavelength and frequency or time period. When we can mention frequency or we can connect it with the time period. Okay. First, wavelength is equal to wavelength. What is wavelength? Wavelength or wave velocity. Wave velocity means the distance traveled by a wave in 1 second. We'll start with that way. Wave velocity is equal to distance traveled by the wave means that is equivalent to wavelength. So wavelength divided by time period. Right? Wave velocity is equal to wavelength divided by time period. Now we will write everything in terms of notations. Wave velocity is represented by the capital V, wavelength by lambda, and time period by small t. I am just going to rearrange it. So wavelength is equal to wave velocity into time period. And we studied, even I forgot to mention one relationship. Frequency and time period is interconnected with an equation. Frequency is equal to 1 by time period, or time period is equal to 1 by frequency. So we can resubstitute according to this equation. So first one we will consider it as wavelength is equal to wave velocity into time period, or as instead of time period we can substitute 1 by f. So that time we will get lambda is equal to v divided by f, or v is equal to, if we do the cross multiplication, we will get velocity is equal to lambda into frequency. Or else we can write, I'll just write it in the form of words. Wave velocity is equal to wavelength into frequency or V is equal to f lambda. V is equal to f lambda, or in terms of t, it is lambda is equal to v into t, or v is equal to lambda by t. So this is a relationship between wave velocity, wavelength, frequency or time period. Thank you.